school never teaches you about money, so here are 4 accounts that I opened up when I was 18 that helped me get ahead financially in my 20s, coming from a 25-year-old who just recently became a millionaire. And if you open these accounts up in your 20s, then you're already ahead of 90% of the people of your age. All of these accounts are free, easy to sign up, and the most thing that people get wrong is waiting too long and just opening them up and using them in the wrong order. So today I'm gonna give you the exact list, all of the accounts that I opened up in the exact order from least to greatest, plus a bonus account that I'd add once the first 4 are already working for you. All right, most people treat these 4 accounts like it's a menu and they just pick and choose whichever one sounds fun and sounds easy at the time to open up. Then this is kind of how a lot of people will end up, dumping a lot of money maybe into retirement or maybe investments, then get surprised with a random car repair, or maybe they break their thumb and now, a hospital bill of like $5,000 and now they're in credit card debt with the 22% interest rate that is just dragging them deeper into a never-ending cycle of debt. And that's why we made this video. It really fixes that. Every account here exactly has, an intentional job. It knows what they're doing. There's a purpose for every single one of them, and it can't really do its job until the other ones are pulling its weight and doing what they're supposed to do. Now the first account is kind of boring, and that's exactly why it really matters, and I'm sure you have one right now. And account number 1 is the checkings account. Again, this is the central hub where money flows in from your job, from your side hustles, from whatever, and will immediately get transferred out. And the reason why this comes first is because you kind of need a checkings account for everything. If you have a job, you need some sort of place where your money can kind of deposit into. And what I like to do is separate, again, for the type of goals or the intention. So you need a checkings account. This also will help you, get a credit card. This will help you just separate your goals and separate your finances. And so for me, I have one with Bank of America and I have one for Chase for my business bank account. Honestly, I would probably just rock with Chase just because they have the best credit cards in the game. But I digress. It really doesn't matter. You just want to make sure that whatever checkings account that you have has no hidden fees, no like overdraft or, monthly or just like, random hidden fees, because a lot of these companies, Wells Fargo, sometimes will charge you for no apparent reason. But again, you really do not need to like spend hours, comparing logos. Just get one. You can always get another one. It's all free. It really does not matter. This account's job is meant to be boring as opposed to be just a place where money goes in and goes out. And if you need help figuring out how much exactly you need to have an account, here's kind of a framework that you can use to figure out how much exactly that you need in your checkings account. So for that framework, it's just a couple steps. So step 1, you just want to figure out your living expenses. This doesn't include your luxury, your discretionary stuff. First, you just want to see how much you actually need to literally survive. These are things that, your bills, your utilities, things that are going to come out of your bank account no matter what. And then you have that number. Then that's when you add in the discretionary, your luxury, your kind of like disposable, income that you spend on maybe going out, maybe shopping, subscriptions, your Netflix, stuff that you kind of need to stay happy in a sense. So you add that up and that number is going to be kind of what you really need every single month. And you also want to kind of like have a little buffer. So for me, I do either 10 to 20% buffer of that amount, or I'll just round up to the nearest 1,000. Now, again, this is all subjective. It really depends on your spending habits and kind of what you feel comfortable with. So don't take that too seriously. That's just what I use with my framework. And so that's why I'm kind of comfortable using a maybe not optimal bank like Bank of America to kind of keep my checkings account, just because I'm not really putting that much money in there. Again, it's literally just a place where money goes in and goes right out. And these transfers are automatic and only work if you have like this central hub. So that's why it's super important to have one and to not kind of skip this step. But I'm sure that if you're watching this, you have a checkings account. So let me know down below what you use. If you use Bank of America, Wells Fargo, if you use, I don't know, Chime, SoFi. I'm curious to see what you use, so comment down below. All right, now that you got your central hub working, now it's time to really set up these automations. And account 2 is where this happens. This is where the money you save actually starts to work for you and you kind of get that peace of mind. And account number 2 is a high yield savings account, or also known as a HYSA. And what it is basically, it's just like any normal savings account, except it's primarily online. There's no physical branch, so there's no like ATMs you can kind of go in. But the difference between a high yield savings account and a traditional savings account is that its interest rate, or APY, is 9 times higher than the national average of these traditional savings accounts. I think if you look at the Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they give you what I think like a 0.042%, which is, nothing. And the high yield savings account that I use, and I'll link all my favorites down below in the description, they give around 3 to 4% APYs. It's just as safe as a traditional bank account. You have FDIC insured. It's backed up by the government, and it's as flexible. Your money's not locked in there. You can always put in money and withdraw money. I do it all the time. And within this account, this is where you want to keep 3 to 6 months of living expenses or your emergency fund. This is where if something were to happen, you have that peace of mind knowing that, okay, if you lose your job, if your car breaks down, if you break your thumb, if something happens, you will be okay. Now, this is good for, a couple of reasons. One, obviously you'll be okay if something happens, but 2, it gives you that freedom and that peace of mind and kind of allows you to breathe and kind of operate and go through life without, always worrying about money. And if, the next kind of event in your life is going to kind of be this cataclysmic event that's going to lead to any credit card debt. And again, that's what you want to avoid too. That's the third thing you want to avoid, is having some sort of event where you have to either sell stocks or go into credit card debt. A lot of people in America specifically get into this mistake because maybe they get into some sort of accidents, they go into a hospital bill, and now they're charged with $10,000 and they don't have any emergency fund. That's when people really get stuck in a hole. But again, this is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence. YouTube, please don't take this down. And again, this account is literally 100% free. You can sign up for multiple. You literally don't have to use it if you don't want to, if you sign up for it. And so if you don't really have one, you're leaving money on the table. So do yourself a favor right now. Go to the link in the description down below. I have all of my ones that I use, all of my recs, and just take 5 minutes and set that up. And it's really crucial because this is the first automation that goes from your checking account to your high yield savings account comes from. And you're not able to set this up if you don't have this. And just to reiterate, the reason why you want to do this before opening up, let's just say, investing accounts or other things, because again, it's not only about the money, it's about your peace of mind. When you already think that investing is risky, or maybe starting a side hustle, or maybe quitting the job is risky, then will you really want to take that risk or kind of take that leap of faith if you think that, okay, if you mess up, then it's game over? And that's what having an emergency fund in a high yield savings account does. It gives you that buffer between you and life. And one thing that I know with my 25 short years of living on this earth is, things will inevitably happen. This guy over here knows what I'm talking about. He made tons of mistakes like this before. And when it comes to the automated system that you have so far right now with your checking account and high yield savings account, again, this is the second step. So what I do is I'll have money going from my checking account directly to my high yield savings account as soon as I get paid, until I have my 3 to 6 months of emergency built up. After that, I stop trying to save, because you're not gonna get rich by saving money, and we'll get that later on with accounts 4 and 4.1. Account number 3 is a credit card. But I know this may be controversial if you watch like Dave Ramsey or something, because he says that all credit cards or all debt is bad.
It's the biggest scam in freaking history.
In my opinion, it really isn't. And so if you kind of abide by these simple rules I'm going to follow, you'll do fine, and you can actually use the certain perks that credit cards allow you to have, which kind of elevate your certain lifestyle if you're able to do it the right way, which is, travel perks. You can travel the world for free, stay at hotels for free. You can get cash backs, 1% all the way to 5% cash back on any of your purchases. You can get access to priority lounges. You can get access to, certain events or certain things in the world that is kind of cool. But again, it only matters, it only is worth it if you abide by these simple rules. And it's 1, don't spend more money that you don't have with these credit cards. 2, always pay on time and always in full. And 3, don't open like a gazillion credit cards at the same time. Spread it out like 6 to 8 months if you really want to be careful, and just be really intentional with what you open up. And that's really it. The reason why people go into credit card debt is because, again, they don't have an emergency fund and something happens, or they just see a credit card as free money and they don't think, they just don't look at it. They spend, and then once that month hits and then they see that bill, then they freak out, they don't pay it, and then that interest rate, which is like around like 20 to 30%, eats at them slowly. It's literally compound interest in the negatives working against you. And so that's what you really want to avoid. And the reason why this is so important is just because a big chunk of your credit score is your credit length, like how long you actually have some sort of credit account open. So the most, form of credit that you probably know is just a credit card, but you can get one through student loans, car loans, whatever type of loans. But the ones that we probably are going to focus the most on, and that's probably the most relatable to you, is going to be just the credit cards. And so your first credit card really doesn't matter. You just kind of want to get on the scoreboard. And so what I did, I just signed up for a credit card with my regular bank just to make sure that I'll get one once I turn 18. And so I got the Bank of America custom cash rewards card. Pretty crappy credit card. I honestly never really use it, but that's what really allowed me to start building my credit at a young age, is because I just had that open. And honestly, there's a lot of good credit cards out there like Discover One. And if you're in America, which I'm assuming that you are, credit is super important. If you ever want to rent a house, get a car loan, get a mortgage, or anything that really has to do with borrowing money, which if you live in America, again, you probably will have to do at some point. And if you're not privy to what a credit score is, basically it's just kind of a report card that tells the bureaus how kind of responsible are you with borrowing money. And so again, the longer you have credit lines open, the more credit you have, the more times you're able to show them that you can pay these off, then the more responsible, you'll look to the bureaus, and the higher credit score is. I think right now I'm sitting around like 807 right now. And honestly, like I don't do too much. All I do is automate all my payments. I also have over 11 credit cards, but I maintain them. I don't overspend. I automate all of my payments from my checkings accounts, so I don't have to ever worry about it. I never miss anything. And my credit score is just slowly building. And so when I do need that money, when I do do need to rent or mortgage, I'm ready. I'll get the best rate possible. All right, now we're going to talk about the account that most people know that they should have, but they keep putting off for some reason, and it's probably going to cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions. And this is account number 4, the Roth IRA. Now, this is a really big one. I've made tons of videos talking about this before, and basically a Roth IRA, it's just an investing account that's meant for retirement. It stands for Roth Individual Retirement Account. And it's just like any taxable brokerage account where you put money in and then you invest in the stock market, except for this one, you actually contribute post-tax dollars, and any growth in this account is tax-free. The IRS can't touch it. But of course, there's some stipulations, and I'll put a screen down below because I've talked about this account very extensively, but the main concept I want you to know about is just compound interest and why the Roth IRA is so important to have as early as possible. Now, compound interest is just when you invest your money and then that money starts making you more money, and then that money makes you even more money. It's just the interest on top of interest. And it's so powerful that even Einstein called it the 8th wonder of the world. And this is how most people actually are able to work maybe a minimum wage job, but retire with multi-millions in their bank account. And that's all because of investing compound interest. But the main part of it is actually starting early and investing early on, because compound interest only really works if you give your money enough time to grow and compound and double. And that's why timing is all that matters. Time in the markets will always be time in the market, or will be somebody when they're a lot older trying to play catch up and they're investing 10 times more of you. And so to really visualize it, I'll put an investment calculator on screen. And so here you can actually see what compound interest really looks like. But with this one, you can actually see the difference between investing into just a regular investing account, when you have to pay capital gains tax, and a Roth IRA. It's literally millions of dollars. And again, this account is 100% free. You can open up, never use it. You can open up with multiple brokerages. Doesn't really matter. For me personally, I use Vanguard. Just to give you extra motivation, this is my Roth IRA account, how much I have and what I'm investing in. When I first started, I just invested solely into index funds and ETFs just because I didn't really know what I was doing and I just wanted my money to work for me. And so I'm really glad I did that because I avoided analysis paralysis, and I was just putting the money that I worked hard for, to work. And so it was making more money for me. But as I grew older and as I understood more about investing, that's when I started to become a little more risky and started to invest into individual stocks. But if you're just beginning, literally just focus on building that habit first of investing and funding that Roth IRA, which I think this year you have a max of 7,500. Literally, the government knows that it's so OP that they have to limit how much you can actually, contribute into it, because if there was no limits, then, people would just be like gazillionaires tax-free, and government doesn't like that. And so if you skip or delay this, you are literally missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars and time that you can never get back. All right, now let's talk about the bonus account 4.1, and this is just taxable brokerage accounts. Now, this is again just another way to invest into the stock market. There's just no tax advantages in here. So like if you make money in the stock market and you sell, you have to pay capital gains tax, but it's really flexible. Any money that you put in, you can always take out, unlike the Roth IRA. And I almost forgot the automation part for all of this. You can actually automate money from your checkings account into your Roth IRA, into the investment, taxable brokerage account. And that's what I do. I automate pretty much everything. So as soon as I get paid, money goes from my checkings account to my high savings account. And once that's filled up with my emergency fund, then the money will transfer into my Roth IRA. Once I contribute the max, once I have enough in there, then the rest will go into my taxable brokerage account where I'm able to invest the rest of my money I'm able to save. And here's a screenshot of one of my taxable brokerage accounts. I'm using an account called Webull, but I also use Vanguard Fidelity. Again, it doesn't really matter. Just use Robinhood if you really want to. Please just open one up. I'll put a link in the description down below with the investing accounts that I recommend and that I use as well. But it literally opens 10 minutes. And I think some of these accounts will actually give you like bonuses, like a couple stocks to open. So please do that. Kind of a funny story, in high school, we used to send each other like Webull, Robinhood links just so we can get free stocks. And the one free stock that I got when I signed up for Robinhood specifically was like a $200 Meta, or Facebook at the time, free stock. It was pretty cool. And maybe you'll get that as well. And the reason why this is the bonus account and not just the regular one is because the Roth IRA is tax-free growth. It's just too good to pass up. And you saw the investment calculator that I had. It's a huge difference, literally millions of dollars. And that's why that should be priority number one when it comes to investing. It's funding that account. It's the same mechanism. You just contribute your money into the account and you buy stocks in the stock market and your money grows. It's just pretty much the same thing, but the order really matters. So you don't really want to start investing until you have a high yield savings account with emergency fund, because you don't want to play offense before you start playing defense. And you don't really want to focus on a taxable brokerage account until you're able to consistently max out your Roth IRA or even just come close to it. And don't worry if you're not totally there yet. You can really sign up for all these accounts and just contribute to maybe $1, $5, automate that. It really just matters that you have these accounts open and you're getting into the habit of transferring and using these accounts, for your benefits. And getting ahead of basically everyone your age almost has nothing to do with, picking some genius investments or, being super rich or having a super fancy job. It's about doing these boring accounts in the right order while everyone around you kind of fumbles and doing it backwards or kind of just waits. You know, you don't have to be the smartest in the room, and it's not about the speed of which you're going, but it's about the trajectory and the direction. And so if you're still watching, here's the only assignment that you have this week, and you can literally just do it right now, and it's to try to open up all these accounts. You don't have to do it right now. That's kind of how people burn out and kind of open none and kind of have analysis paralysis, but just pick one. Maybe it's a high yield savings account, maybe it's an investment account, maybe it's a Roth IRA. Just pick one and then work on from there, and maybe you'll do another one the next day or in the next week. Is to try to have a plan that makes you actually open these accounts. I'll drop a breakdown soon next, so please make sure you're subscribed, and if you like this, please like, subscribe. It means the world to me, and of course, till next time.